how are you today? Happy Saturday. So since it's Saturday, you're probably winding down from a pretty busy week and a pretty busy few weeks since we've all been getting back into the swing of back to school. It can be really tough getting back into it, so in today's video I thought I would share a few life hacks, tips, and tricks for studying and taking tests and writing papers. That way when you are faced with these things, now that we're all back in school, you will have what you need to be as prepared and awesome as possible. So let's get to it. So the first thing I'm going to talk about is tips for when you're doing your homework. So the first thing I want to say is it can be really distracting when you're home and you're doing homework and there's like your laptop and your computer and your phone and Twitter and your television and your camera because you want to film a YouTube video. It can be super tough to stay focused. And I know a lot of people like to listen to music, which helps them stay focused, but listening to music can also sort of distract you so that you're not giving your full attention to your homework. So a good solution for this is to log on to something called ratingmood.com. I love this website. It's so great. It's so relaxing and calming, so not only are you staying super calm and super relaxed while you're doing your homework, it's also helping you stay focused because there's some music-ish sound going on in the background. So you're going to sort of get that creative stimulation that a lot of us need, or that sort of like sound like that a television would give you or something like that, while still being able to focus in on what you're trying to do. So this next homework tip has to do with math. Math can totally suck if you're no good at it, or even if you are good at it, which I sort of was, it still wasn't fun. So I'm going to give you a little tip on how to get the math out of the way. So there's something called mathway.com, and it's a great website. I used it a lot while I was in college algebra, which can be super tough. Basically what it is you just have to go on there and you can type in your question, click what you want it to do, and then click answer, and it's going to give you the answer. Now, I know that sounds super awesome because you're like, wow, I don't have to do homework anymore, but don't use it in that way because that's not good. That's not the purpose of the website. Well, I mean, it is the purpose of the website, but that's not how we should use it because it's super important that you still know how to do it because you're still going to be tested on it. They're still going to ask you questions about it. So you still want to make sure that you know how to do it, but sometimes it's really helpful when you're either stuck on something or you want to just check your answer to make sure that you are right because you're sort of unsure if you can see what the answer is. So even if you haven't done all of the work yet, if you know what the answer is, sometimes it's easier to sort of move backwards and make sure that what you're doing is going to line up with what the overall conclusion is. So I think it's a great resource, but you have to use it in the right way, otherwise you could end up hurting yourself in the long run because if you don't actually learn how to do it, then you're not going to do well on any of your tests or quizzes. So next I want to talk about writing papers, and this is something that I've sort of become an expert at because last year I wrote 3 50-page long papers. It was awful, I'm not gonna lie, it was totally terrible. So here are a few quick tips about what you can do to help your paper writing process move a little bit more smoothly. So when you're looking for information to include in your research paper, it can be super tough when you're just using google.com because obviously there's just all of this surplus of information. I mean, just like hundreds of pages on pretty much every subject that you could possibly type in there. Plus, you don't know how reliable all of those websites are. So something that I always use when I'm writing research paper is scholar.google.com. And all of these pages are much more reliable, they're much more on point, it's a lot less information to look through. There's still tons of sources on there, so you don't have to worry about running out of information, but it's just a lot more targeted down. It's really reliable information, and the best part is it's super easy to find how you're supposed to cite it. When you're just on random websites, often they don't have an author listed, copyright, any of that stuff, but with articles that were going to pop up on scholar.google.com, there are always going to be things that are going to show you, or not show you, but tell you how you can cite that web page. Now when it comes to actually writing your paper, it can be super tough to get started. So always what I like to do is start by just writing out a little plan for myself. So if you think about it this way, let's say that you have to write a 4-page long paper. Not too bad. So 4 pages roughly translates into 8 paragraphs, and minus a opening and a closing paragraph, that's only 6 paragraphs. Pretty easy. So then you just want to sit down and write 6 basic topics. That way you know what those 6 paragraphs are going to be about. So that way, once you get a roll, you're not going to have to stop and think about what you're going to write next, and you have a plan laid out in front of you. It's just going to feel so much easier to make your way through the paper. And And of course, when you're writing your paper, you're probably going to end up taking a break once or twice or even more depending on the length of the paper. So what you want to make sure that you do is before you take a break, finish the paragraph that you're writing. That way you don't lose your track of the thought that you have, because that can be really bad. It can totally slow down your momentum. And also make sure that you write the next sentence to the first sentence to the next paragraph that you're going to write. I know that this seems sort of annoying from a I just want to take a break standpoint, but when you come back from your break, you're going to be so happy that you did it, because first of all, you already have something to go off of instead of trying to think of how to start something and get that momentum rolling again. You're already going to have something there, and it's going to help you get back into it so much easier. It also helps to make sure that the paper flow is a little bit better, because if you're moving right from one thing into the other, your brain is going to help it flow better, rather than if you take a break between the two things, they might not seem as connected as they could be. And now onto the dreaded test taking. Guys, this is a really sore topic for me because I am an awful test taker. I will get all of my papers right, I'll do all my homework, I will know everything, but when I sit down to take the test, I can have a lot of problems. And this is just something that a lot of people go through, so don't feel bad if you go through that, because it's something that I deal with also, and tons of other people deal with it too. So here are just a few tips that have helped me throughout school when it came to test taking to feel a little bit more confident and to sort of know what I'm doing. So something that I was always told by my mom was to chew a piece of sweet gum or put a little sweet candy in your mouth while you're taking the test, because this sends positive whatever chemicals or something, I don't really know what's inside your body, but positive whatever into your brain. And so instead of going into it and thinking like this is going to be awful, you go into it with a little bit more of a positive attitude because you're sucking on something sweet. Now, I'm not totally sure if this is true or not. I don't know whether it's like scientifically correct, but I also heard that if you chew a piece of gum while you're studying for the test and then chew that same flavor gum while you're taking the test, that flavor can help you recall information because it's something that was going on in your body while you were putting all of that information into your brain. So obviously I'm not 100% sure whether that's true or not, but also I think just going into it thinking that that's working is going to help you get more things right, because you're going to just have a little bit more confidence in the situation. Another tip is when you are taking your math test, as soon as you get the test, or really whatever test, write down information that you think you're going to forget right away. Just do it in pencil right at the top of the test or quiz. Just write down formulas or definitions or keywords or whatever you think that you're going to need for that test. That way it's right there while it's fresh in your brain, so you can really quick look at it in your notebook right before the teacher hands out the test or quiz, and then you can write it down on the test or quiz right away. That way it's there, and it's going to be a huge help when you get to that part of the test. And when you're going through the test, if there's a question that you don't know, just skip it for now. Get all of the things that you know 100% or almost 100% out of the way first. Just do them right then, and then you can go back and finish the harder questions afterwards when you know how much time you're going to have left to finish up the test or quiz. And now I have 2 tips for if you are taking a multiple choice test. Now, multiple choice is great because one of the answers there is going to be right. There's no like open-ended, you just sort of have to recall it. So that's great, but there are a few things you can do to even better your chances of getting the answer correct. So the first thing is to make sure that you look at all of the answers. Even if A seems like the right answer and you know it like right away, still just read through the other answers, because sometimes it's trick questions and maybe one word is different from one answer to the other, and you want to make sure that you pick the right one. So just read through all of them, even if it seems sort of pointless at the time. And also something else that sort of goes with multiple choice is one of the answers is always going to be completely wrong. So you can do it by process of elimination too. If you know that one of the answers you're just like, that's absolutely not right, cross it out, you know that's not right, and you've already improved your chances of getting it right by 25%. And then from there, use process of elimination. Think as much as you can about whatever subject it is and sort of eliminate things until you think that you've come to the right answer. And that is it for my life hacks and tips and tricks when it comes to back to school, homework, paper writing, and test taking. I wish you all luck in this new year. You guys are going to do great. Study hard, do your homework. If you don't know, I have a whole college series, which also a lot of the videos will relate to high school also. So if you're only in high school or even middle school, it's good to know, not only because eventually, hopefully, you'll be going to college, and also it's a lot of things that will apply to you right now also. I love you all so much, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye! Okay guys, so I've gotten this question a lot on my Twitter recently about like what my fans are named. Okay guys, so I've gotten this question a lot recently on Twitter about what my subscribers are named, and we don't have a name yet. So if you have any suggestions, leave them in the comment section because I don't have any ideas. I don't know. So think about things that have to do with my name, Jill Cimorelli, or think about things that have to do with my username, Perpetual X Beauty. I'm not sure. I was maybe thinking Jilly Beans. The Jilly Beans? I don't know, but I think that might be dumb. So let me know what you think in the comment section.